Alrighty, welcome back. We got a super special episode today. We got Derek Hull here for episode number 11, all the way out from Florida. Super excited to have you here. Super excited to catch up. It's been you've been with us since the beginning, and it's been a really cool ride. You're probably one of my favorite stories in the company. Just how much you've grown, where you are now. You're achieving your dreams. So let's kind of start. At you joining Reimagine, how did you hear about us? I mean, because when you joined, I think, what are you, employee number 5, 4, 6, something like that,
right
4, 5, 6, something.
Yeah.
You know, we were basically two guys in an office when you showed up. So talk a little about how you heard about us, what made you interested, and was roofing something that you ever saw in your future? Just kind of talk about that.
Yeah. So EJ kind of introduced me, Eric Jacobson, and then I met Nick through my wife's brother, so I just kind of stayed in contact with him at the beginning. He said, you guys really weren't looking for anyone yet, but just kind of stay in contact with me. And I think about after 3 or 4 months, you guys had an opportunity, and I took that. And yeah, definitely didn't see roofing in my future at all.
What were you doing before you joined us?
I was in the golf industry, and then right before I got out of the golf industry, and I was doing Uber Eats for about a year, just kind of seeing where that took me.
Yeah. What were you doing in the golf industry?
I was outside service. I began there, and just grabbing bags for guests, treating them right, being professional. Then I moved inside and became the assistant, and I was just the golf shop manager there, just taking it day by day.
Okay. So definitely not really on any career path, kind of just, like you said, taking it day by day. And so what did EJ or what did Nick say about Reimagine Roofing? And, because that's a big jump going from, golf, Uber Eats, to the position you jumped into, which was assistant field manager to start.
Right. Yeah. So when EJ kind of told me about this possible opportunity, he said, you'd be dealing with a Marine, and you'd be a hard ass, and he'd expect a lot out of you. And I've always liked people like that, working around people that just push you to do more, be more. My dad was like that as well. So it seemed like a really good possible fit. And I was just, taking it day by day again, just hoping for that opportunity to just meet you and see what you were about.
Definitely. And so we hired you on. What was day one like for you? What was the first week? What do we have you doing?
So I was the first day I was at a tile job, just kind of seeing how that worked. I was there for the tear off with Tony. After that, we just kind of were just doing some job checks, doing material orders. Then I was with Nick for the rest of the week, just doing the same thing, just whatever we needed to do. If jobs needed material, we would go pick it up.
So a lot of manual labor, just lugging things around.
Lifting,
Yeah.
Doing that. Yes, sir, being out in the sun, being hot.
Yep. So, no, I was. I remember when you joined, and EJ had kind of told me about your previous work experience. I was like, does he know what the new job is? As it seemed like such a dramatic shift. But credit to you. You stepped right in. I don't think I've ever heard a single complaint from you the entire time you've been here.
Wow.
Maybe others have. Maybe you just don't let me hear it. But,
maybe we'll keep that.
But no, I mean, you jumped right in, didn't miss a beat, and just started learning the roofing industry. And then we saw, as we do with a lot of people, more potential for you, right? We saw that you were good with numbers, that you were good with people, and that you had some really good admin skills. So then, what was the next for you? Did we switch you over to office work then?
Yeah. You kind of put me in that executive assistant role. And, when we first interviewed, you mentioned LinkedIn, how you can just try to sign solar companies up that way. And just the way you presented it to me, it sounded too good to be true, like it was going to be too easy. But, I mean, once I found out how I could roll with that, it was another challenge that I was going to take on.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that. That's really what you've carved out the role for in helping us grow this business. You've been a massive help in that department, doing our B2B development. I can't say enough good things about what you've been able to do with that. And it's something, you're coming from a place with no sales experience, no real experience in B2B. What do you credit it to, the success that you've had in the B2B space?
I would say first, just really taking what you said to heart and using just being very concise with your statements to them. And as well, I just enjoy talking with people, making them feel good, making them like more of a friendship that you're creating with them, rather than it's just being like, hey, we want to work with you. What can you do for us? What can we do for you?
Yep. And I would say that's the number one key that we've found, on LinkedIn for people listening out there that are looking to do B2B generation, is do not word vomit.
Right.
Do not come out and say, hey, I'm the best roofer in the world. Look, these are all the things that I do. And, I'm really awesome, really awesome. And you get, 6 paragraphs long. Nobody's reading that.
Right.
If you say, hey, how's solar going for you? Or, hey, how's your business going for you? Or hey, how's 2022 going for you?
Yep.
What big plans do you have in 2023? And you connect with them on a human level before you start connecting with them on a business level.
Right.
And you've done an amazing job at that. I think one thing you left off there that you do better than maybe anybody in the company is persistence as well. So, I think we've had some companies where it's like you've messaged them 13 or 15 or 17 times. What do you do? How do you mentally prepare yourself or mentally overcome the mental hurdle that a lot of people have, where either it's the fear of rejection or they don't answer the first time and you don't send a follow-up? You're the follow-up king. How do you do that on a daily, weekly basis? Like, what is the mindset and what is kind of your process?
I just really a credit to not getting discouraged. That's the biggest thing, because, if anyone has worked with sales or trying to sign on anyone, is, you the more you send out, the better chances you're going to have with someone. So I just felt that, if you don't get an answer within the first month, give them another follow-up, just kind of checking back in. And then after that, I would just send out weekly messages, really. I would make a list of who I had messaged, who I haven't heard back from, and then I just follow up with them, or I would set reminders as well.
Definitely.
It's really not that hard. It's just taking the time to do it and really not getting discouraged.
Yeah. I think that's a lesson in life in general. There's very few things in life that are genuinely hard if you do it consistently.
Right.
Doing something consistent is hard, but if, the majority of things in life that I've found, getting in great shape fitness-wise, not that hard, as long as you go to the gym, 3 times a week, every single week for the next 3 years or whatever that time frame is. And the consistency is the difficult part, not the actual action.
Right.
So, other big thing that I think really played a part in this, and I think it's really important for anybody that does sales, is believing in your product. That's one thing you mentioned to me when I asked you when we would do our one-on-ones of, what had kept you going, and it was, believing in what we were doing and knowing that our partners needed this. So does that give you a little bit of reassurance that that once they do give you the time of day, that it's going to, that they're going to love it?
Yeah, definitely. I just, big thing is believing in our leadership as well, believing in you, and just gives you that confidence that what we have is genuine, that we're giving to you, this partnership. We're going to treat you right, and we're going to make sure that every step of the process is done the correct way. And we're just ensuring that quality for you.
Definitely. Awesome. So let's backtrack a little bit to, got into Reimagine. You were here for 6 months, and then you kind of came to me and said, I'm thinking about moving to Florida. What motivated the move? Talk to me a little about your time that now you've been in Florida and just about that whole process.
Really what wife had a large part to play in that. We would take some trips to California. She's always loved the ocean, always wanted to be by it. I had never really thought about the ocean that seriously until I met her, and we got out there, and then we took a couple trips to Hawaii. We went there on a honeymoon, and we just had to be by the ocean. So ever since being out there, it's been an absolute blast. I would say just the one drawback is not being around this culture. That's something that I miss, but it's just hard to want to move away from the ocean now.
No oceans in Arizona, unfortunately.
No, sir.
So what about the ocean speaks to you?
Just the peacefulness of it, just watching the water, just the air. The air just seems different there, and it just feels more alive for me. And just being around nature is a big part that it plays too as well. Yeah,
it's always the ocean has always been right up there with mountains for me, and even rainforest, et cetera. Something that is just so monumental in its scope that it really grounds you. Like you're standing in front of this massive ocean or this massive mountain, and whether you climb that mountain or you go swim out in the ocean or whatever you do with it, just knowing how small you are in comparison to something like that is, for me, has always been really grounding. Do you guys
100%.
kind of find that same effect?
Yeah, I love just being able to walk around with no shoes as well. As you said, just grounding and just feeling more one with nature as well. Just being outside. I have more of a drive to be outside. I mean, every day I'm outside now, so.
Okay, awesome, and not too much one with nature because you guys just got hit by a big hurricane. That was your first hurricane ever, right?
Yes.
That you've been through.
Yes, it was.
And you got a little bit lucky, right? I think you remember me telling me that you were in a direct path,
right?
And actually, you guys had the cross. So talk to me a little about the preparation of that. Was it scary? What was it like, or was it just a really long rainstorm?
Yeah, didn't really know how to prepare for it because, as you said, it was my first one. Didn't know what to expect. I had to deal with it by myself, unfortunately, because my wife, she's a registered nurse, so she had to go to the hospital and stay there throughout the process. But yeah, it hit stronger, more south of us. So, but yeah, it was just a windstorm, like a dust storm here, but just that wind for the whole time and raining didn't stop. And then the gusts were a whole nother thing. Felt like the house was just shaking the whole day. Yeah. Just constant.
Do you know how high the winds where you were at? Did it get all the way up to like the hundreds, or did you see anything on the news?
From what I heard, it was in the high 70s on some of the gusts, and it maintained probably, I would say, a good 50 miles an hour throughout the whole entire day.
Did you go out there at all?
I did go out a little bit. I did find out that you're not supposed to open up your windows and doors, though, during a hurricane because the pressure can literally blow your roof off. So I learned a lesson there not to do that. But, yeah, it was quite the experience. So our avocado tree in the back, half of it fell down.
Oh, no.
Fell right towards the house as well. I watched it, but thankfully it didn't hit the house.
Yeah, no, when I was over in Okinawa, we had some pretty intense monsoons and also typhoons that I think are just hurricanes in another part of the world. So that was kind of cool to be out there and just feel it. And it's like being blown by something you can't see and is pretty, your brain can't really capture it.
Right.
Like, even when you see it on TV, I used to always think like the weathermen were kind of being dramatic or, it can't be that hard. Like I could go stand in it, but it's pretty powerful and pretty crazy.
100%. Yes, it is. And that's another part where you say you realize how small you are and how much you respect nature because of what it can do.
Definitely.
So have a big respect for it for
sure. Definitely. So now you're out in Florida. Tell me a little bit about what pros and cons. You mentioned, not having the culture here. Is there anything else that you miss from Arizona? Maybe are you sick of the rain yet, or do you love the rain? Or talk to me about the difference between the two areas. And were you always in Arizona? Were you born here?
No, I was actually born and raised in Nebraska.
Okay.
After high school, then I kind of moved around a little bit, moved to Arizona, been to Texas, lived in Orlando for a little bit, moved back to Arizona for 10 years, and then I moved. So, yeah, I would say I'm definitely not tired of the rain yet at all. I love that. I love the weather.
Mm-hmm.
It was, the weather is a little bit more consistent here, but I thought it would be more windy there, and it's not as windy as I thought.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't necessarily miss the dryness.
Yeah.
So
picked up any hobbies yet out there with the ocean? Tried surfing, bodyboarding, anything like that?
No, haven't done any of that. Started collecting shark teeth though, hunting for shark teeth. We have a friend that loves to do that, knows a lot of good beaches, so we do that.
Awesome.
I think scuba diving's next.
Okay.
Doing that, just snorkeling.
Okay, so you're going to collect the shark teeth first, then you're going to go try to find the actual sharks out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right, that doesn't sound safe.
Let's go swim with sharks. No, maybe some dolphins too, because see dolphins from time to time as well.
Definitely. Awesome, cool. So collecting shark teeth, getting Reimagine going in Florida. What else is kind of new for you? What else is on the horizon for you and the wife now that you guys have put down roots? Because I assume you're going to want to be in Florida for at least the foreseeable future, right?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think we foresee us ever really moving.
Okay.
I know we wanted to go to Hawaii, but it's just a little bit too far away from actual civilization.
Yeah,
so.
The logistics are tough.
Yeah,
tough seeing family
expensive.
and it's really expensive. And just everything over there is really expensive too.
Yeah. But I mean, we love to work on our house. We love making it our own now that we have our own house, and it's pretty much our dream house, or at least for right now. And yeah, it's.
What big projects have you guys accomplished? What's in progress and what's in the future there?
One of our biggest projects right now is we are adding a screened-in patio area outside that connects to our screened-in area, but the roof will be open, so
Okay.
it'll be nice. So we have our foundation laid. We're just waiting for them to build it. Hopefully,
Okay.
pretty soon there.
And you guys have someone else building it?
Yep.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were building it yourself.
No.
I was like, dang, I didn't think.
Yeah, right. Picked up some skills. No,
Yeah.
unfortunately not.
Okay, awesome. Any other big things that you're looking forward to in 2023?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of getting in more used to sales, and then I've been stepping my feet into making some of those leadership branding videos, getting my face on camera. So I'm really enjoying that. So I'm looking forward to just advertising more for the company. Hopefully, kind of being the company mascot.
Yeah. No, you've been killing it with those leadership branding videos. Have you been releasing them anywhere besides just the company page? Have you do you have like a personal, or like are you building up your personal branding page, or have you separated that yet?
Yeah, so I'll post them on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I don't post all the same ones so I do LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok.
Okay.
So I'm kind of getting used to how the TikTok thing works. But yeah, I post them on my pages, trying to grow that brand, but more so just grow Reimagine's awareness out there to the world.
Definitely. I mean, and you've been absolutely crushing these videos. Talk about that journey a little bit, because we live in the age of content creation. It's everybody can do it, but a lot of people are really intimidated by it, and a lot of people feel that maybe it's not for them, or they're not good on camera. Did you have some of those same feelings when you were getting started, and have those feelings changed? And just talk a little about that journey.
Yeah, I would say to everyone out there, you don't know until you try it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was reluctant to do my first video. I mean, Chris, our guy here taping it, he had to remind me a couple times to do it, and I just finally said, all right, enough is enough. Let's do this. And yes, very nervous the first time. Had a lot of things going on in your head, because you're trying to make this perfect video. And once you get to like 3, 4, 5, you're done with it. You realize how just relax and just let the words flow. So it gets easier for sure.
Yeah, and as I have started doing more, whether it's being filmed or even doing these podcasts or whatever, what I've noticed also when I'm watching other people, like in their videos, I notice a lot more either like a small edit or like a small mistake that before I started doing anything, I thought everybody's videos were perfect.
Right.
And then like once I started doing them, I'd be like, okay, mine was like 98% right. I made that small error, but I'm just gonna leave it in there because it's not worth it. And then as I started watching other people's videos, I was like, that dude just messed up.
Right.
Like this guy's like a professional YouTuber. He just messed up and he left it in there. It's like now I can see that everybody's makes these mistakes all the time. Even when we're doing a podcast, sometimes we stumble and we don't edit out words or anything, and it's you notice that it's okay to make mistakes. Like
right.
You don't have to be perfect. And can you talk a little about that, of how it's given you more confidence now that you're okay with something that's only 95% good or 98% good? And have you gotten over that need for perfection?
Definitely got over that need of perfection. Because my first, probably, like I said, 2-3 videos, it was on the 20th take, I finally got it how I wanted to. So yes, when you stop trying to be so perfect and just really let your words flow and realize that your pauses seem a lot longer in your head than they actually are on camera. Like when I watch it back, they're not nearly as long as you think they are.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And that's, because I also listen to a lot of things like on 1.5 speed or 1.75 or et cetera, like even some podcasts. And it's always like in my mind, I was like, how does that even make sense? But then when you're filming a video, I feel always like I'm filming on 0.5 speed. Yeah. Like it's like, I'm just dragging through it. And then I watch it, I'm like, oh, that sounds like everybody else.
Exactly.
Definitely. So talk to me a little bit about some personal goals that you've been working on. I know being at Reimagine, you've been striving more and more to develop in your personal life as well. So what are some things that you've been building on? You bought your first home, so that was a huge financial goal. Anything on the fitness front? I know you're an avid golfer. Talk about some personal goals that you may be working on now.
So actually a big fitness thing that I've been doing the past 2 months is I have a timer set during the day. So whatever I'm doing, every half hour, I have a timer goes off, and I'll do 20 push-ups, 25 squats, and 20 bicep curls.
Okay.
And I just have that on repeat throughout the day. So I get it I'm get up, get active, stand up a little bit, stretch out, and then do something that will actually benefit me.
Definitely. I love that. How long have you been doing that for, and what kind of effects have you seen?
So I've been doing it for about 2 months now, and yeah, I noticed, like, to be funny about it, but my pecs start to rise up a little bit. You feel stronger in your upper body, especially, and you just feel better about your day. You just feel better when you're working, getting that heart rate up. It's a really good challenge to have throughout the day.
Definitely. And I think it also, I don't think I know there's, tons of mental benefits from that. I used to do corporate fitness before this, and that was one of the things that we would do, for call centers or for anybody that's just, sitting at a desk all day. That little bit of movement does more for you than coffee, or does more for you than anything else really out there. So have you noticed that as well? Have you been like sharper when you come back from the little breaks that you're taking?
Yeah, it really does feel like it's easier to focus and get more into the zone with things, because you're actively working your body and your brain instead of just maybe just your eyes or your brain at the time. You're getting that cardiovascular, your heart rate up, and it's all around beneficial for you, because how can working out not be beneficial for you?
Yep, 100%. 100%. All right, so making some progress there. Any goals in the golf game? Other than maybe just to golf more?
Yeah. Just always trying to get better, because that's the great thing about golf. You never master it, and that's the great thing. And then another goal would be just to really just keep being comfortable with being uncomfortable in situations, and just take on more challenges as I did with these videos, and now as I'm going to start learning more of the sale process and talking to people, just really challenging myself to just continue growing and not being satisfied.
Yeah, and that's my favorite part about what we're building here at Reimagine Roofing
100%.
Is that, it's there. Yes, we're doing it because it's going to help the business. You being uncomfortable, whether it's knocking doors or, taking escalations or whatever, like those are going to benefit the business. But the life lessons that I think that all of us are learning and able to then implement further, like when I hear you speak about it, it's like, be comfortable being uncomfortable, not just at work, like push myself in other areas, and being able to have, like we talked about in the morning call today, standards.
Yep.
And I think that was one of the big things that I realized when I was watching some motivational videos today, is what we've created here at Reimagine is a set of standards instead of a set of goals.
Yeah.
And I hear it all the time is, be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's a standard now in Reimagine Roofing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've taken that as a standard in my personal life, and it sounds like you've taken that as a standard for yours as well.
For sure. And I love that line this morning, because like you said, people can strive for goals, but there's nothing below that. Mm-hmm. But when you have a consistent standard, you're always meeting that, holding yourself accountable, and then your goal just gives you that extra bonus on top of that. And that's a big thing right there.
Yeah, and I think changing that dynamic of, making that commitment to yourself that, hey, my new standard moving forward, let's say it's fitness, I'm going to go to the gym once a week. But my goal is to go 3 times a week.
Right.
You've made that commitment that you're going to go at least once a week, but you're going to strive for 3 times a week. Or my standard is I'm going to save 10% of my paycheck, but I'd love to save 25%. Or, my standard is I'm only going to eat out, bad food twice a week, but my goal is 0. If you create standards in your life, you can live your life by your standards and then try to push with your goals. But when you fail at your goals, your failure now is your standard. Yeah. And I think when you can fail backwards to your standard, whether it's a business, whether it's a personal life, fitness, nutrition, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like now you're just progressing, because now your standard after 3 months of going to the gym once a week, your new standard would be going to the gym twice a week. Right. And now we're going to try to go 4 times a week. But we're building our standard up instead of consistently shooting for the moon and then sometimes hitting the stars, or shooting for the stars and sometimes hitting the moon.
Yeah.
Or sometimes people, shoot for the stars and then, hit the earth.
Exactly.
Instead, we want to have that, that great standard to where we can build on that and build a true foundation.
Because, when you think about goals, you're not always going to hit them, and that may be disappointing. And then you just have that disappointment in your head. But when you're going with a standard, you still have that positivity in your life. You still have that good energy there, and then you're trying to reach your goal. But if you don't, you have that disappointment, but you still have this positivity right here. And that's big, because everyone wants to be happy. So if you have that standard of being happy, then that's just an extra, and it's not going to hurt you too.
Yep. And kind of on that same line of, standards versus goals, I also think, one thing that I've really noticed in the company with everybody is the self-talk and we kind of talked about that, in this morning's meeting as well, where it's, you can either say, I am someone that goes to the gym, or I should go to the gym, or, I am somebody that's going to be comfortable being uncomfortable, or I should do that. And I noticed your self-talk has changed from when you started to where you are now. You give a lot less ambiguous or non-committed statements. It's more, I am going to do this, and I'm going to try to do this as well. Can you talk a little about that evolution that you've made? Do you notice, or is it just something that comes natural now, where you're using different terminology of I am doing this instead of I want to do this or I should do this? It's a lot more definitive of you creating your future.
I really feel like it stems back to being comfortable with being uncomfortable right there, because that's really helped to mold me, and just the confidence that I've gained for it. It's just kind of molded into that really without even thinking about it. You just, when you start to hold yourself more accountable and you start seeing these good results because you're doing things that you maybe haven't done. I mean, when people just need to get out of their head that when you start something, you're always going to be bad at it, but you eventually get good at it.
Yep.
And if you don't like it, but just give yourself a chance to do something different.
100%. How has this mindset shift, has it improved married life? Has it improved friendships? How does this translate back into kind of your personal day-to-day?
Yeah, I would it just helps me communicate better, just being better all around with that. It's just helped relationships, just talking to people, whether it's through GroupMe, and like you said, not giving such ambiguous answers where they're kind of non-committal. They're more direct, but in a proper way where people don't think you're being an ass.
Yep, 100%. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today. You have been an amazing transformation in the company. You've really done some amazing things in your personal life and your professional life, and you are the definition of what it means to be a Reimaginator. So I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us, flying out to Arizona.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for everything you've done for the company and everything you've done for me in my personal life as well.
Well, thank you as well, Cody.
Awesome. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll continue to tell the stories of all of our amazing employees, and hopefully you guys pull some nuggets out along the way for your journey as well. See you guys later.